In today's world, we have more access to people than ever. Yet relationships feel harder to achieve, colder, and more disconnected. Gen Z is facing a real dating crisis, one built on paradoxes that explain why people feel so burnt out, are single, or are even afraid to try dating. So let's start with the independence paradox. Women today are more financially independent than ever. They can provide for themselves and are building their own career. This is one of the first generations of women that we're seeing that don't need a partner to survive. And that's amazing. Because of this, they're also being a lot more selective about their partners, as they should be, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I look at a lot of older men, maybe my uncles, I mean, sometimes even my dad, and I'm like, damn, like, my aunts, my mom, like all the women in my life really settled because they needed to be taken care of. My mom is a stay-at-home mom, and she always has been ever since, I was in the picture. I have many aunts who are stay-at-home moms, and they really rely on their husband for their finances. I mean, my mom hasn't worked in years. So when you become so dependent on a man or on another person for your finances, for your survival, chances are you're going to be willing to put up with a lot more, right? The person is the one who's taking care of you. The person is the one who's bringing in the money. So you're gonna let a lot of things slide. But unfortunately, when you look at the statistics of who experiences the most domestic violence, who ends up being a single parent, it's overwhelmingly women. And so we've learned through maybe just watching the older generations or hearing stories online or watching the movies, whatever it is, but we've learned that we have to be really cautious of who we let into our space, of who we have kids with, of who we get in a relationship with, because we know that we're putting ourselves in a dangerous situation if we end up knocked up by somebody who just isn't someone we can depend on, someone we can trust, someone who's gentle and who protects us. And it's actually really funny because when you look at who's doing the inner work, going to therapy, learning emotional regulation, getting in touch with their spirituality, doing the reflection, working on the red flags, becoming healthier partners, it's a lot of the times the women. In fact, study shows that women are almost twice as likely to receive mental health treatment. 21% of women compared to 13% of men, even though the suicide rate among males in 2023 was almost approximately 4 times higher than the rate among females. So, this shows that both genders are, they're going through their own shit. I don't think there's a person in this world who just isn't going through it, who doesn't have some sort of trauma. But the people who are seeking help, the people who are bettering themselves and really working on just dismantling or processing that trauma are the women. And so if the women are learning how to communicate their emotions, if the women are learning how to love better, if the women are learning how to understand themselves, then naturally we are going to want partners who can meet us halfway. And, quick disclaimer, I'm not saying all women are doing this. I'm not saying men are not doing this at all. I'm just saying the statistics show that women are more likely to seek therapy and seek help and really focus on like self-improvement, self-betterment than men. And so the bar is being raised, not because like a lot of the times I see nowadays women are too picky. It's not that women are too picky, but it's because we're learning that emotional maturity, self-awareness, and accountability matter when it comes to dating and relationship building. And the problem is that most men were not taught how to meet that bar. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, there were so many rules for women, right? You couldn't be like the super jealous girlfriend, the super jealous wife. You couldn't be the super problematic one, the one who like spoke too loudly, the partner who did this X, Y, and Z. Like there were so many rules surrounding what women should and shouldn't do. And I don't know if that kind of made us or pushed us to be more aware of our actions and to be more aware of our faults. But a lot of the times what men are told at a young age is you need to be a provider. You need to be the man of the house. You need to be the strong one, protect your family. But in a world where women can kind of already do this for themselves, the old script, the old ideals, they just don't work anymore. And this is kind of not dangerous, but it's a little problematic for men because we know that the dating pool just naturally favors women more, right? A woman can go out in the streets and that same night find herself a date, versus for a man it might just be harder. If you compare a woman's, for example, Tinder profile, the amount of messages or likes or super likes or whatever, it's going to be way more than the average man's. And overall, it's just easier for women to get like pursued and go on dates. But if the men are still expected to be the ones to start a conversation, to approach a woman, and it might not be for the right reasons, it could be just men just wanting to like hit. Of course, there's definitely that issue as well, but it is just easier, in my opinion, and I think statistically, for a woman to get dates. But if men kind of want to, I see this a lot too of popping up online, how men want to be approached now. If men want to be approached, or if men want to be good candidates for a relationship, for a partner or whatever, then they're going to need to step up their game. If the women are evolving, the men have to evolve too, and not just physically. I don't mean just, getting ripped and getting abs or whatever. I mean spiritually and mentally. Then there's also something that I like to call the fear paradox. Men are told to approach, and I think there is sort of this stigma that a man should approach a woman. If a woman approaches a man, it's kind of like no, I want to be approached. I want to be sought after. So men are told to make the first move, but we live in a surveillance world. Every single interaction you have, can be recorded, can be posted, and then can be judged online. And so when you have these interactions of, men maybe approaching women at the gym, men approaching women at just like random spots, right? And you have these interactions go viral and heavily criticize the man, then yeah, they're going to be scared to be the first ones to approach. They're going to be scared because they don't want to be labeled as creepy. And this fear has consequences for the dating world because, again, men are still expected to be the ones who approach first. So studies show that over 45% of men aged 18 to 25 have never approached a woman in person for dating purposes. Almost half of the younger men have never approached a woman, have never said, hey, let me take you out, they don't have these interactions. So that's almost half of an entire generation of men who maybe just relied on online dating or dating apps, but never went face to face trying to take a woman out on a date. And so again, if the women are waiting for the men, but the men are never starting the conversation, the men are never approaching, the men don't even know how are we supposed to date? And I think this fear of being judged, this fear of being ridiculed online that's caused by this surveillance world is even causing other weird things. Like men are kind of scared to even be chivalrous now. I mean, for me, I think I spent a lot of my time at home and at the gym. That's it. I go to the gym so much. I was thinking a little bit about what's a third space for me. Like, do I really not have a third space? And I have a third space. My third space is a gym. So I see a lot of just interactions there. Most of the interactions that I witness are at the gym, but I see more and more men just completely forgoing being gentlemen. Like, I am more chivalrous than a lot of the men at my gym. Like, I know I'm a little bit stronger in the sense of like the weight that I can carry. So sometimes like I'll offer to help a girl out. Maybe I see that she's like, because okay, it's ridiculous at my gym. My gym, like nobody re-racks the weights. So these big ass men will leave the machine and walk away from it, and after they'll leave like 5 plates on the hack squat maxed out of the plates on the leg press. And then you go and see like this very small girl who maybe she's just starting out at the gym, she doesn't push a lot of weight, it's her warm-up set, who has to take off 4 of the plates, 5 plates, 6 plates, just to put a little 25 plate on. It is ridiculous. So sometimes, like, yes, I will see that and I'm like, okay, like, let me offer to help, you know? But not that I've seen, but none of the men offer to do the same. None of the men will hold the door open. I will hold the door open for the men and the women. Anytime I'm coming out, anytime I'm coming in, I'm going to hold the door open for you, because I think those are just manners. I don't know like what it is. Men have this vendetta at my gym against being nice. Or like the other day, I was carrying a 130-pound dumbbell because I wanted to do like single leg hip thrust. So I was carrying it, and I caught a few men kind of just staring, and they were staring at me while I was doing the workout. And, you know, they would kind of wait. Like they would stare, and I'm like, okay, you know, sometimes people just like doze off. It's totally fine. I don't mind. But then they were kind of just like waiting for me to like start the workout, because I guess, you know, maybe they wanted to see me lift that weight or something, whatever. But it's just like as soon as I would lock eye contact with them, it's just immediately like looking down. And I see this a lot at the gym where, you know, maybe somebody doesn't necessarily know that I'm in a relationship because my boyfriend isn't with me. But I feel like I feel like I can kind of sense when somebody wants to approach me, but they're very like intimidated, or they're very shy and awkward about it, that it does end up making them look like creeps. But I've also had men at the gym maybe lock eyes with me the second time we lock eyes. And like, I have a staring problem, okay? I love to people watch. It's a bad habit. I watch and look at people and lock eyes with people all the time during my sets. So that's on me. But maybe sometimes, you know, the second time we lock eyes or whatever, they'll come and approach me, and I'll like just casually be like, oh yeah, usually I come with my boyfriend, but this time he's at this, or like, well, and I'll keep talking to them about the gym, but just so that they don't like get the wrong impression, right? And I think that's so normal. I've had it done before as well when I was single, and I've gone on dates with people from the gym, not awkward at all. But it's just like, there is that group of people who knows how to talk to a woman instead of just making it it has nothing to do with looks, right? It has nothing to do with looks, because it's like about, you know, if you lock eyes with someone and you keep doing it repeatedly, and you like stare people down, maybe, yeah, you do have a crush or whatever, but that's not how you're supposed to act if you have a crush. Like, of course, I'm sorry, you're gonna come out creepy. And it has nothing to do with the way you look, the way you're dressed. It has nothing to do with that. It's just like your social behaviors, your ability to, your social skills or whatever, it's just not there. And that is, at the end of the day, what makes that person seem creepy, versus somebody who, you know, you lock eyes a few times and then they approach you because, you know, maybe they don't want to make it weird, like, hi, how are you doing? Hi. And then you start talking, you're friends with them from that moment on. Or maybe you do ask them out to go on a date, and you guys go on a date and you guys date for a bit. But that's what differentiates between weird and not weird. And I went on a whole different like tangent about it, but point is, men are just so scared. Some men, right, are so scared of maybe being called out. And from my experience, like those videos that pop up online, those, like, no sane person will act like that unless you are physically like following someone. Maybe you make like really rude remarks about their outfit, and you're flat out rude and creepy, and in that way, okay, I think you're gonna get a reaction, an unpleasant reaction from a woman. But most of the time, like, I have yet to see in person a situation like that. We see it online too, and like some of the times I'm like, okay, girl, like, you're reaching, you know, like that guy was just maybe staring at your phone a little too long. Maybe, yeah, he's gonna stare at you or while you're working out or whatever, because maybe he's just resting and like looking around. But most of the time, like, you're not going to get that very angry, very viral worthy reaction from a woman when you're not being super like insanely creepy. And I think the further along we go, where maybe you're just completely like isolating yourself, completely taking a step back from being chivalrous, being a gentleman, being friendly, you're promoting rude encounters, or you are kind of just hiding away from possible friendly interactions. These are the moments that build friendships, that build the opportunity to go on dates, that build community. I've seen so many articles about how we're facing a loneliness epidemic, and I think, yes, we can point out on like the external factors. Yes, there's a lack of third spaces. Yes, everything is so expensive. Yes, COVID happened and now we don't know how to socialize. But we can also look internally. When we are refusing to make eye contact with people that we see every day at the gym, when we are refusing to hold doors open for strangers, to compliment people on the streets, to have small talk, that is what is setting us up for this loneliness epidemic. It is our own actions, right? And that is also taking a toll on the lack of dating around Gen Z and millennials. It's the fact that we are so socially awkward. How can we even meet people or get to that point where we feel comfortable asking people out on dates if we can't even hold a conversation with them for more than 2 seconds? And then there's also the choice overloss paradox. We have grown up in a world with infinite options of everything, right? Yes, the dating pool as well. You can scroll for 2 minutes and just find a world of infinite options when it comes to dating partners. You can like swipe right and swipe left on hundreds of different faces in a span of a few minutes. And because of that, people have started treating dating like shopping. They're always wondering if there's something better out there, if they're gonna get the better deal, if they'll find the perfect jeans somewhere else, if maybe they just need to browse in this store or go to this location. The error is that we've mistaken abundance for compatibility. You know, I've gone on so many different dates, right? When I was single. How many of them made it to date number 2? Date number 3? Not a lot, because the compatibility wasn't there. That spark wasn't there. We couldn't hold a conversation. We were both awkward. Maybe something was just off, right? Yes, there are so many options. There's abundance of people. There always has been. But the truth is that you are not going to connect with everyone. You are not going to, be able to laugh together the same way you can with someone else. The humor is just not going to be matched. The likes and interests are just not going to be matched. The values are not going to be the same. The standards are not going to be met. There are a lot of people, but not all of those people will be for you. A very selective amount of those people will be for you. And it also just sucks because, when you go on that many dates, with dating apps, it promotes a lot of dates. Like that's the whole point, right? As many dates as you can. When I was single and I was looking or whatever, I was dating around, I would go on like 3 different dates in a day. On like, there was just, okay, this happened once. Okay, chill. I had a life outside of dating, but I mean, at that time I was just doing school. It was like winter break. I had really like nothing going on other than that. Yeah, I had work, but you have a day off from work. The whole time when I was on those dates, it's just like, damn, I was just comparing the other dates that I had been on. Like by date number 3, it's just like, oh, well, the other guy did this. Oh, that girl did this. It's just that constant comparison makes it almost impossible to be with someone in the present moment. And that also takes away from that experience, obviously, because your head is like somewhere else, and that's not fair to you. And then after the date, I would kind of just like judge how the date went with that experience, not realizing that I completely ruined the experience for us. like it was by my own doing, because I was not able to be present, because I was not able to give my all to the person in front of me. I self-sabotaged the date. And so, I think now this is kind of dying down, where we're kind of realizing now that, hey, yeah, we do have a lot of choices, but at the same time, we kind of don't. But yeah, when I was in college, for sure, people just hadn't processed that idea yet. It was always about dating and going on dates and maybe even hooking up with people. Constant. People were kind of just like anti relationships because everybody just wanted to, go crazy. And then I also want to talk about like red pill content, and I guess the opposite for that, which would be like the man eater, what is that thing? Sprinkle, the sprinkle content, where it's like, I want a provider. My man is supposed to do everything left and right, supposed to read my mind. Those are, polar opposites. But I think what people don't realize is that they kind of are attracting each other in a sense, which is kind of, ironic, because in my opinion, the red pill men want the complete opposite from the, I don't know, is it blue pill? What would it be? The red pill version of a woman, right? The red pill men want like the super soft, feminine, kiss the fucking land I walk on, bow to me. What do they even like over there? I don't even know. And over here on this side, the women want the provider man, which is like kind of like the red pill, right? Yeah, take care of me, protect me. I don't even want to think. Let me shut my brain off. And I think the funny thing is that we can't attract something that we are not able to give back, and vice versa. You'll keep attracting what you are. If you are emotionally unavailable, which I would argue the red pill men are, you're going to keep attracting the same. You're going to keep attracting the women who are also emotionally unavailable and who will value everything that the red pill hates. Oh, women just, want you for your money. Women just abuse you and use you, or disrespectful as fuck. And this is why I'm going to be this and this. And yeah, if you go on to the dating world with this mindset, yeah, guess who you're going to attract? You're going to attract the emotionally unavailable women who will just use you for your money, who aren't there for a real connection. Yeah, but that's what you are attracting by not working on yourself, by not taking a look at yourself in the mirror. Same thing for the women. The women want a provider man, someone to take care of them, someone to protect them. They're not going to get that. They are not going to get that if they show up with this, like only putting money and being rich and having a good body or whatever it is on a pedestal. They're not going to attract that. They're going to attract the emotionally unavailable men who will take care of them, who will, be the provider, whatever, but not for the right reasons. Not because they actually love them, not because they actually want to take care of them, but because they want to just stroke their own ego. It's the same thing if you're chasing validation. If you're chasing validation from your partner, you're going to end up with the partner who will take advantage of that. And this is why it is so important to separate the noise, because the truth is people want to date. I know people are kind of shying away from dating, but to the bone, I think that it is more about being scared of dating, or not knowing how to approach women, or not knowing how to approach a man, or whatever it is. Like, people just are so out of touch that maybe we don't really know how to date anymore. Or maybe we have just such a nasty depiction of the opposite gender because we have these big extremes on the internet that go viral. And maybe it's actually not just the reality of the people who are out there, because when you start talking to people, you realize that most of them are more like in the center. Like, they're not these crazy out of touch people on the left or the right. Because the people here, like, they're low-key missing the point. They're missing the point that dating is not about dominance. Dating is not about perfection. Dating is not about what it can do for you, what benefit it will bring you. Dating is about building a connection and having a partner by your side that you know will support you, who will guide you, who will make the decisions for you, who will be able to fix your life, who will just support you, who you can build with, who you're going to be able to grow with, who you can pour into, and who you can expect to be poured into you back. Dating is not about, like being the alpha to stroke your own ego, or having somebody be able to provide for you so that you could stroke your own ego and feel like the princess or whatever it is. Dating is just about meeting someone and building a beautiful, beautiful connection with them. And so what is the solution here? Because like I said, a lot of people want to date. People still report in studies that they want to date. They just maybe don't want to do the online dating anymore. A lot of people are shying away from online dating. And I think it has to do with the fact that online dating is kind of connected with like hookup culture. And more people are seeing like the cons of hookup culture, but people still want to date. The women still want to be approached by the men, and the men still want to date. So a big thing is that we have to learn how to express romantic interest while making the other person feel safe. That kind of goes back to what I was saying with being able to, like hit on someone or whatever, and not being like creepy about it, not just like eyeing someone across the room for you and like yearning for them and not being super subtle about it. That is creepy. No, it's like, for example, something that worked for me, or could have worked, right, if I wasn't like in a relationship. Something that happened to me recently was that we made eye contact, a guy and I made eye contact, and I'm not gonna be like, oh no, sorry, I have a boyfriend. I'm not gonna do that, right? Because like, I don't know what the fuck the deal is, right? But he approached me, like we made eye contact, he approached me, oh, you're so strong, compliment, right? Compliment. Wow, you're so strong. How long have you been working out for? Oh yeah, thank you. I've been working out for this. Oh, how about you? Oh, okay, cool. Walked away. Didn't hit on me, nothing, walked away. The second time we're like, hey, what's up, right? Because we already kind of broke that barrier. Now we have to kind of greet each other. Hey, what's up? How's your workout going? Things like that. And if they're into you, then they're going to be like, yeah, for sure. Like, let's go here after here, whatever you said, right? And if they're not into you, or in my case, I was like, hey, that sounds fucking cool, but I don't know if I told you I'm actually in a relationship. I don't think, it would be that appropriate for us to hang out. And then he was like, oh, yeah, of course, for sure. No problem. Sorry, my bad. I didn't know. And I was just like, no, you know what? It's cool. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. And after that, we still talk at the gym. Obviously, we don't flirt. Obviously, we know it's not going anywhere, but we still talk because we're cool with each other or whatever. And so that's what it's about. If he were to just stare at me, keep staring at me, we keep locking eyes every single day I come to the gym, we just keep locking eyes, and he just stares me down, after a while, yeah, I'm gonna be like, this guy's a creep. But just the fact that we had that conversation, we had that little small talk, he didn't come off as a creep. And so I think that is going to be a really, really big solution if people just learn how to express romantic interest without coming off as creepy, without making somebody feel uncomfortable. There are ways, you guys, there are ways. But obviously that takes work. I remember when my ex and I had broken up, and I did want to start dating, right? I did the work. I felt good. I wanted, I healed. I was fine. I was ready to start dating again. And it was very scary for me because it was new. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I just kind of had to throw myself out there. Did I look a hot mess? Yeah, I did. I probably came off creepy. I'm sorry. Sorry to the guy that I hit on. Sorry to the women I hit on. I know I for sure did come off creepy, but you know what? After the third time, I was cool. I was fine. Not a creep anymore. So that's what it also comes down to. This is a skill that you have to learn. Being able to flirt. Flirting is a skill. So You're gonna suck at first. You are, but you know what? Once you flirt for the first few times, you realize, hey, rejection isn't so bad. Hey, making a fool of myself is actually not so bad. Wow, everyone is a human like me. These people are showing signs that they're a little bit awkward like me. This person is showing signs that she's a little shy like me. Everybody deals with social anxiety. Everybody feels awkward at times. Everybody feels dumb as fuck sometimes. Everybody is a human like me. And then after a while, that's when, oh, you develop the skill and you master that skill. So if you are someone who's like, you know what, yeah, like I would actually love to start dating, you know what, I'm ready. And you get a little bit nervous about it because maybe you don't know how to flirt, maybe you haven't been on a date in a really long time or ever. Okay, no shame in that. I was a late bloomer too. You have to just stop overthinking dating, because it doesn't have to be this super intimidating and scary thing. You can go up to someone and just start a conversation with them. And more often than not, that is what is going to lead to something, right? Remember that everyone is human, just like you. Yeah, that super beautiful girl or that super handsome man across the room is just human, just like you. They experience the same emotions. They experience awkwardness and shyness, and they shit and pee just like you. We have to start rebuilding the social skills that the digital age has robbed from us. We also need to move away, just as a society, move away from public shaming. God damn, not everything has to be recorded on TikTok. Not everything has to be shared and be posted, and not everybody has to be ridiculed all the time. Because guess what? That shit is biting us back in the ass. We are too scared to even exist now, thanks to TikTok. God damn. But even if the odd chance that you are labeled as creepy on TikTok, or that somebody laughs at you for flirting or whatever the fuck it is, that experience is gonna help you grow, okay? That is how you learn, by fucking up, by acting a fool. Let's start normalizing rejection once again. But yeah, that was all that I had for you guys today. If you're dating or if you're single, just take this as a reminder that the problem isn't that love doesn't exist anymore. The problem isn't that our generation just doesn't know how to love. The problem is just that we are a little bit socially anxious. We are learning how to navigate living in a world that taught us how to fear connection. But it's okay, because you know what? Together we can start building up the communities. We can start being a little bit kinder to one another. We can start building that connection that we so desperately need. And other than that, that was all that I had for you guys today. If you enjoyed this episode, do not forget to comment your thoughts down below, because it helps me out a lot. Like this video because it helps me out a lot. And yeah, until next time.